have problems with that. And actually, this guy here, MuskyBad, is my my ex co-caster, so I'm gonna be making sure to ream on him as hard as possible. Okay, so and then the ban process as well for a tournament like this. In my mind, you're just banning either generally strong champions, but you're probably going to look into the history and ban some target bans.
Yeah, that's something like I think most teams are doing. You know, you generally want to scope out your opponents beforehand, ban out 1 or 2 comfort picks of their players that might pose troublesome threat to your team. Like even though like their support was only gold, I decided we should ban out Annie because I think that's going to be a lot of trouble to our bot lane.
Right.
Stuff like that. And then, you ban out strong stuff. We're seeing over here that we've got the Kassadin, and, left side seems to be taking the more general bans.
Right. And it does look very, very kind of simplified there. Though
Right.
Dr. Mundo, very strong, and we were talking actually I was talking with MuskyBad about just the different champions that are strong now and how they're not the same as they used to be. Season 4 brought a lot of changes and brought a lot of new champions to the top. Yeah,
Season 4 really gave a boost to the manaless tanky champs top.
Right.
And so Mundo and Shyvana, as a lot of people might notice, had a skyrocket in popularity. They're really independent. They don't require that much farm to sustain themselves off of a core of just Sunfire and Spirit Visage. They can contribute a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're seeing those all the time. I mean, Shyvana, actually, there was the second game that we had casted. I don't think you were in that game, but Shyvana was just all over the map and just wrecking all the team fights. So
yeah, Shyvana has a really the difference between Shyvana and Mundo is that Mundo has a bit of a wonky start, but later he becomes a bit more nigh unkillable than Shyvana. Shyvana has the added advantage though of having that instant initiation with her ultimate that closes distances. Mundo kind of has to wade through a bunch of CC before he can quite get there.
Right. That's a very, very smart way to put it. So we did see Leona kind of being hovered around. Now Maokai is picked up, and I'm seeing a Thresh ban. Thresh, to me, feels like a target ban now. It didn't used to feel that way at the end of Season 3, but for right now, I feel like it's more towards the target ban because champions like Leona, even Taric, like those big tanky supports are kind of making a big comeback as well.
Alright, they definitely did a really good job on nerfing Thresh's early game and making sure there are a couple of supports that Thresh has trouble initiating onto.
Right.
Makes him afraid of going in all the time. Before, you could just be fearless, walk up, whack whatever you wanted.
Right. Okay, so it is going to be Leona again. Leona's a super strong champion. Now Maokai, ooh, that feels really weird to me. I haven't seen a Maokai in a very, very long time. Definitely not in competitive play. Warwick as well. I've been seeing him a lot more. I didn't see him for like a month.
Been seeing him a bit on the EU side actually.
Yeah.
Although I don't know if that's just a couple teams trolling around. But yeah, we have seen him a couple times in the EU scene. Looks like Blue Team is picking up a pretty beefy front line. They've got Maokai and Renekton and Leona actually, so they're gonna be able to soak up a lot of damage.
Right, and I think with the Warwick in there, that's probably a pretty good counter to that because he's gonna be able to just get to the back line very, very quickly. And actually Vayne's great for that as well because if she kites backwards, you've got the Lee Sin kick. If Warwick needs to peel, he can peel, but Vayne's going to be dealing that true damage, and that's what you need.
Yeah, Leona really excels more on the offense rather than the defense, so having Leona on the peel really kind of sets her back a little bit. She'd rather be in the front line with everyone else, but with the Warwick pick, it kind of puts that pressure on the carries of Blue Team, so she has to peel them off.
Right. Alright, so we're going to see possibly a Tristana. I love Tristana. I honestly can't get enough of her. So
Tristana's always been the natural pick against Vayne when you want to play against the hyper carries.
Right.
At the end game, she's got like a full 300 range on the Vayne and a lot of attack speed. There's not much you can do against a really fed Tristana in the late game. While Vayne is scary, she does suffer a bit of short range issue.
Right. And I'm actually noticing just on our little champion list here that Zot is actually in there. Sorry, I didn't actually see him at the bottom there. He is the Tristana
Zot
player.
is going to be the AD carry for their team.
Okay, and he is I think it's Team Zot, which typically means that
he's the team captain.
Yeah, he's the highest rated player. And there is another diamond on this team though, which is really interesting, and that is Durfus, who is not there.
Must be another team.
Yeah, okay, so there was somebody actually who was rotated out.
Yes.
And it's
I believe
the jungler.
they had to look for a replacement.
Okay.
Wow, that's interesting actually. We're seeing an Anivia here. Haven't seen one of those in a long time.
Interesting choices. So now in terms of synergy, where are you looking, and what do you think is going to occur? What do you think each team is going to aim for in team fights?
I feel like Warwick and Lee Sin are actually probably going to do most of the work in the front line. They're going to try to get onto the Tristana and Kayle.
Okay.
Might be a little troublesome though, because Kayle can burn them down pretty quickly. But Purple team definitely has a lot of peel for this Vayne. We've got a Nivea wall. Nivea puts down a lot of slows, puts down a stun, and Lulu has always been the ultimate peeler for AD carries.
Right. But one thing to note is that of the 3 tanks in the front line there for blue side, they can all get over that wall, or under it if you're Maokai, but you can get through that wall.
Right.
So that could come into play, but I definitely agree. On top of the wall, you've got a lot of CC to back that up. This is going to be a fun game, definitely.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward actually to see how Purple team utilizes their Lee Sin. I feel like he could really make some match deciding kicks.
Yes, I'm excited for that. Although I'm not gonna lie, I can't stand Lee Sin players. I don't know why. It's like they go over the top with the theatrics, like the ward jump, like Q, kick, control 4 and laugh at you, all like, and then Q again. Like I hate it.
Yeah, it's actually funny because when Yasuo came out, there was like a whole bunch of like a splurge of Lee Sin players complaining about Yasuo's maneuverability. Which, like, this is the most ironic thing to ever happen. It's like, finally you have a bit of taste of your own medicine, what it feels like to try to catch a Lee Sin.
Yeah. Oh, it's nasty. So, yeah, I can't stand Lee Sin players, so I officially am rooting against Comboed. Not his team necessarily, but him as a player, I'm sorry, I can't have it. Alright, so...
I feel like the Kayle pick was a really good choice, actually, on blue team's side. I really like blue team's comp better.
Yeah, and Kayle's actually kind of had, I'm going to call it a comeback, because she had a huge uprising for a while there, and then she went away for a bit. Now I'm going to call this the comeback.
Yeah, the offense masteries of Season 4 actually really benefit Kayle. I believe she uses both Spell Weaving and Blade Weaving better than any other champion in the game. The dual penetration, of course, as a hybrid champion, she benefits from that very much so. Yeah, she's really strong. We've been seeing KMT actually overpower has picked up Kayle a lot. I tried to pick her up recently, got banned out against me a couple of games, so I didn't really get to use her.
Right.
But for sure, on a team that can peel properly, she can basically ult anyone that gets caught out, and then she shreds tanks extremely quickly and makes it very easy for the AD carry to finish up.
Right. Okay, well, we do have a little bit of time here, so as a high-level Diamond player, I'm going to try to pick your brain as much as possible.
Sure.
I'm just a lowly Plat 2, so I'm pretty weak.
It's not that bad.
I need to put...
Honestly...
I need to put the time in.
Like... Really, if you can make it to gold, you're pretty good. Don't let the. It's a thing. It's a feat to reach diamond. It's a feat to reach platinum.
Yeah.
It is the top 15% of the player population.
Right. So I'm gonna pick your brain a little bit then.
Sure.
I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna ask about mid because I saw you playing mid. I don't know if you main.
Yeah,
mid.
I play a lot of mid in solo queue, especially when I'm playing on a competitive team or something. I do main support instead.
Okay.
That's where I learned most of my laning mechanics. And honestly, I feel like that's how I've carried myself. I don't feel like I'm particularly good at, a lot of champions, but because I'm better at laning than my opponents, I can often push it out.
Okay, sweet. So who do you think is at the top of the pile right now for characters? In just mid, let's just talk mid.
Gragas, with the change to his E, is definitely at the top of the pile at the moment. It's it's not as good for escaping, but if the game flow is in your direction, right, it's definitely beneficial to you. It's much better as an offensive move now. People can't just hide in the creep wave and expect to get away with that. Fizz used to be considered like a 50-50 or a counter pick to Gragas. It's now more of a 60-40 in Gragas' favor.
Wow.
Like, anytime Fizz walks up to the last hit, you toss a barrel at him, and if he tries to go offensive on you, you just all in him, right? He's not a very tanking champion, so he can't really compete with that. And that's something Gragas has really suffered is the reduced body slam damage, and now that they've changed that, he's definitely seen a lot more play.
Yeah. All right. And so you think Gragas 100% top of the pile?
I think 100% Gragas is at the top of the pile. Yes.
All right. That's good to know, and I'm glad that we got to see you play him earlier. And I did mention actually just because you had Lysandra pushing on you.
Right.
She got first blood.
Right.
So that was definitely a tough thing to deal with, but you kept up in CS.
That's something that even if you are behind as Gragas, you can easily keep up in CS and make very impactful plays. Your ultimate is definitely one of the more game-changing ones. You can reposition the enemy team unfavorably. essentially they can never take a minion objective against you, like safely. As you saw in game 1, actually, the Baron was kind of a throw on their part. So yeah, Baron and Dragon are never really safe against a team of Gragasana. The ulti just offers too much burst damage and displacement.
Right. Yeah, very smart stuff. Okay, so we're going to jump into this one. We didn't get to see quite who won the skin war, but by the looks of things, Lee Sin and Lulu already got some skins. I saw Tristana. Oh, wow, there's a lot of skins on it. I think everybody has
We've got a 5-skin team over here on Vanquisher side.
It looks like VanquisherGod wins. Although they're down in gold already. Jeez, that's rough. Bad start.
How's that?
The Masteries.
The support Masteries?
Yeah.
I was like,
actually, it's
they're cheating. They're cheating.
It's pretty common though, actually, to see a disparity because people are adjusting to the Masteries right now, and they don't know whether or not starting with that extra gold is a good thing.
Personally, as a support main, I generally like to take the more heavy defensive Masteries. Defensive Masteries, as it is right now, are kind of overpowered. Recovery is extremely powerful. Even just sinking 1 or 2 points, like going 15 into defense just to pick up recovery, is worth it. The amount of sustain it provides you in lane is better than anything you can offer. Oh, we're going to have a fight here in a second.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to break out. Kale doing some damage. Started with the E, so that's not going to allow for her team to catch up. Although, we're looking at a Maokai and a Tristana way off in the background. That's one of the things I noticed as well, is that the shop times for each player in this tournament in particular are way different.
Yeah. I feel like Leona got a little separated there. If she went in the same direction, she might have been able to catch someone there with a Q. If the entire team is there, that might have been a first blood, but, you know, we'll never know.
Right. Alright, so it's going to be Lee Sin. It seems Lee is going to be starting red. And Maokai is also going to be starting red. Now, typically, I mean, it's a pretty generic thing to say, but I typically like to start at the buff that is closer to the bottom. As you can see Maokai is doing here. Everybody thinks Maokai needs blue because he's a mana user or whatever. But I start at the bottom because top is
right. That lets you move towards the soul lanes for your first gank.
Right, right.
Not sure if blue team knows about this invade that's going on. They did ward the Lee Sin's red, so I feel like they should be able to figure it out.
Right, and this is going to lead Maokai hopefully into the enemy team's blue, but that's not going to be the case. He's going to go over there.
Ooh, and actually it looks like we're getting a bit of a lane swap here. Warwick is taking the 1v2 against Tristana and Leona.
Now, in this instance, I know Renekton actually was one of the champions that was doing quite well in the 2v2s because of that Q, the healing off of the Q. Warwick, however, I don't think I've actually seen him in a 2v2 situation. It seems like it'll be pretty good.
We do have a pause here, so we'll talk a bit about that. Can't remember exactly. Gambit Gaming actually did run Warwick in the 1v2 quite recently in the Battle of Atlantic. Okay. It does work out. He gets a bit of sustain off of his auto attacks, and his Q gives him, you know, quite a bit back. So both champions are not particularly easy to push out of the lane, and they can both kind of farm on their tower. I feel like Renekton will have a bit of a better time CSing though. Yeah,
I definitely agree with that. Warwick really doesn't have much in the way of kit to help him out with CS. Renekton, basically everything. He's got the auto attack reset, the AoE clear in both.
And the other issue with having Warwick in the 1v2 and putting Renekton in the 1v2 is that Renekton offers much more if the jungler decides to come up to gank. He can dash through the creep wave, land the stun on, you know, the support or the AD carry. Warwick doesn't have any CC to offer, and pre-6 he doesn't offer that much damage.
Right.
Especially since we're seeing the Dorn shield start from both of them, which I think is to be expected. Since Warwick decided to go for the 1v2, he's definitely going to take the Dorn shield. And Renekton is just, you know, playing the standard bruiser. He will take also the Dorn shield.
Alright, so this is going to be interesting though. This is a solo queue tournament, so the lane swaps typically are something you do at higher level full fives teams because you know what you want to accomplish with those lanes, and the junglers are going to be a big deal in this low level lane swapping, and it looks like Musky Bad taking a lot of damage here from that Kale.
Yeah, Anivia does kind of suffer from a bad early game. In particular, she has really poor auto attack damage. So what we'll see a lot is that the opponents will just push you into your tower, and you won't be able to take that much CS. As we see, there's quite a CS disparity between Kale and Anivia, and Kale gets a lot of free harass on while Anivia's trying to focus on CSing.
Now that was actually very close. Kale, I'm not sure if that was worked out properly. I felt like Kale could have got the kill, but it would have been a matter of just millimeters on that HP bar.
I think since we didn't, they didn't have vision on the jungler, they wanted to play a little safe. So Kale did get the egg down and put a decent chunk of damage into Anivia. Right. So she's still good, and she still has her pots up.
Yeah, very smart stuff. Definitely a good play. Now, and I definitely agree, and he's going to suffer from that those early levels. But again, I'm really looking forward to seeing where these junglers are going to go. You've got a Maokai who can go under tower pretty early on. It's just going to be, and so can Lee Sin with his escapability, right? So we'll see how these both play out. It looks like Lee Sin is about to make his first move, and it's going to be towards that mid lane. Let's see how this turns out. He's going to be going into this Kale. He does have a red buff right now. He's not quite in range of the E, and he whiffs the Q.
Whiffs the Q, not quite.
Oh, that was sad. And he was just barely out of range of the Kale for the E as well.
So it looks like Maokai wants to be going top in order to relieve a bit of pressure off. The junglers do have to make a bit of a decision when it comes to 1v2. Do they want to force the 3v1, take an early tower, try to secure that kill, or do they want to, try to play defensive instead, play the long game, and let their tower live a bit longer?
Right, and I've typically been more a fan of going for the 3v1. You always get the opportunity if it's available. If your two have been harassing pretty decently the one, you always have the opportunity for tower diving. You get the turret. Anything aggressive typically works out. And there's the flash.
Great flashing. We do see the first blood on Maokai's side.
Beautiful. But the Vayne turnaround actually picks up the second kill. Still going hard on this one. Raffia is going to have to worry about the extra damage, but it's looking like a second kill going on to VanquisherGod. There's the roots forward, the grasping roots, and it will not work out.
Yeah, it did use the barrier to try to stall out a bit longer, but didn't manage to live until Lee Sin could get there. And with the cooldown reduction from blue buff, Maokai was easily able to get the stun up again. And it looked like we're seeing some action at bottom here.
Yeah, wow, Zot going real hard on this one. And with the Leona, it's kind of hard not to. So they're probably going to pick up a tower here. Really interesting how the different lanes are working out like this. Might be a turret actually down in bottom lane. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much they've done.
I think it's going to be a couple more waves, especially with the changes to. They've been making changes because the 2v1 was so popular for a long time, and they wanted to spice up the meta a little bit more, so that wasn't the choice you had to make 100% of the time. So towers gained a bunch of increased armor at the start of the game. They're harder to kill, and I believe they're trying to make it so champions deal less damage to towers, but towers have less armor.
Right. Yeah, definitely all very. It seems like something minute, but honestly, they make huge changes.
Yeah. It definitely adds up. Towers are not as easy to take early game as they were before. You still can, but you have to put a lot of effort into it and commit quite a bit of resources. Right,
and in comes Maokai again. Twisted Advance is going to go hard on Miss Etchi, and no flashes available from the last time around. Oh, but no auto attack at the end. No way! He forgot to auto attack, but it's good enough. It's good enough.
I feel like Miss Etchi could have kept running there instead of putting the Q down, and she might have made it out actually.
Yeah.
The W on Maokai does have quite a bit of substantial cooldown. You need an extended fight to pull it up again.
And that was an instance of, I think the Renekton thought that the damage was applied already. You saw him wind up for the auto attack, and I think he just assumed that the damage would apply, but it just wasn't ready yet, so he backed out a bit too early. But still smart, turns around. Now Maokai has a 3-kill lead. All of his team's kills are on him. And again, it's going to come down to those junglers. With Maokai, he needs to continue to make plays.
Yeah, definitely now that since Maokai has picked up all 3 kills, he's going to, he picked up the Moby boots early on, so it looks like he's going to be doing a lot with it. I believe Anivia's egg is still down, so this should be an easy pickup for him.
And
no,
there
it just went back up.
But it's going to be free. Oh, there's Lee Sin though, trying to turn it around. And Paprika CC picks up the kill, and that's who you want it on. You don't want another one on Maokai just yet. Yeah. You want it on your mid lane, and Lee Sin. I don't even know where Lee Sin's been. Have you seen him really make any plays?
No, he's mostly been farming. It's unfortunate that I think he's just short of 6. If he was 6, he probably could have made some plays there middle, as they were both pretty low and Kale was out of mana.
Alright, so we do have a kill on Kale, 33 CS to 28. I gotta commend Anivia for, the pre-6 rather levels. She's kept up pretty decently in CS.
Yeah, there's actually not that much of a disparity in CS between the 2 mids as I thought. Usually Kale CS is very well, just pushes Anivia into the turret, and pre-6, Anivia has a lot of difficulty farming.
Oh, but we got a pinch happening here. As Lee Sin, he does pick up the red. He's going to flash over that wall. This is going to be an interesting chase. Tristana lands the slow. However, gets ulted back. Nice sword toss there, the Zenith Blade.
Exhaustos comes out in the long range Maokai.
It just continuing the aggression, this Maokai, honestly. But Combo gets away from this, and that's actually worse, I think, for blue team because of the summoners.
Definitely. They invested quite a bit of summoners there, and it's a little unfortunate, but it looks like Leona's out of sync of levels with Tristana. Not quite level 6 over there. So she didn't get to use her ultimate there. Maokai coming in for another gank on Anivia, and she just doesn't have the mobility to get out of there. Once the slow comes down, Maokai has an easy time initiating onto her.
Right, and that's just absolutely crazy. Maokai really making good use of his
he's paying
level 5
dividends
boots.
with those Moby boots.
Yeah. And honestly, I think that's the thing you should get if you're that far ahead. 3 kills, the first thing on your mind should be those boots.
So the first tower of the game does go over to purple side, and it helps them a little bit out in the gold deficit. As you see, it's only 1k now. It was about 2k before that.
Right. Oh, Tristana misses the play. I always watched the CS mechanics, and I knew what she was going there for, the proc on the E, but she didn't do nothing. I should have missed 2. But
ooh, Siege missed it. That's painful.
Yeah, I know. It's
I always cringe a little bit whenever I see a Siege minion go to waste. A little bit, yeah.
It feels bad. But actually, speaking about CSing, look at the Tristana versus the Vayne.
Tristana's got the 70 over the 56. I think that's especially due to the pressure that Maokai's been putting on top of. You see that. Red team does look like they're putting a dragon play here. Blue team knows about it, but they're not quite in position to do anything about it. Maokai looks like he might get caught out here, actually. Ooh, the Q, a bit of a miss, but we do get the kick on.
And is this going to work? Oh! I actually thought he ulted, but he just twisted advanced away. But he gets kicked away. Is that going to be enough? Warwick with
Warwick
the
pulls off the ghost, and he's going to get a huge.
Yeah.
So the shutdown goal goes on to Warwick here.
It's
nice.
Yeah, it is. It's going to help.
It would have been nicer on the Anivia or the Vayne, but given the situation, really only Warwick or Lee Sin could have picked it up.
Right. Now, I mean, Warwick, I can only guess what he's going to be going for. I'm thinking maybe Spirit Visage. It's nice on Warwick. Yeah, okay, so
Yeah, it's definitely a Spirit Visage. We see the Spectre's Ow. I think he must have, like, sold it back. Right?
Or, yeah, the undo.
The undo button. I hope.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Actually, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm just going to take a shot in the dark here, but I'm almost certain that the Warwick is actually Red Mercy's significant other.
Huh.
I'm pretty sure that's his girlfriend playing.
Cool.
So, but anyways, not that makes a difference, but maybe there are a couple of mechanics that were transferred over, and who knows. And if they were transferred over, then we won't be seeing any use of Zanya's.
So yeah, the Spirit Visage is actually a really good pickup here. If you notice that blue team does suffer a bit from damage issues, they're really heavy in the magic compartment, and until late game, Tristana's not going to be putting out a significant amount of attack damage.
Right.
So it's definitely a lot of magic damage, and so the Spirit Visage is probably the best pick here.
Right, and there we go again with the Maokai twisted advance. He's got his ult down. Nobody's gonna die to this Warwick. Exhaust is overkill. I wouldn't have exhausted.
Maokai is everywhere. He is just where he needs to be, picking up kills for his team, left, right, and center.
Yeah,
definitely MVP of this game so far.
Yeah.
Six kills, and he's been a part of all 6 of them.
And you know what though? Maokai, I believe, is the guy that was not supposed to be on the team. I think he was just kind of thrown in last minute.
Just thrown in there.
Yeah.
So it's pretty surprising. Wow, that's really good team synergy there. Might see another dive going on to here. Kale is taking the tower aggro though. Does ult onto herself. Oh.
It doesn't quite work out that way, but there are a lot of characters mid right now putting a lot of pressure onto this Anivia.
Oh, Anivia moving forward. They're not the best of choices, and she does go down. At least in no position to back her up on that.
And you can see actually Paprika is going for the last hit, specifically taking it away from his team. A fed Kale is honestly like one of the scary
you definitely want the
things.
kills to be with your carries.
Yeah. So smart stuff there from Paprika, and I don't know if his team's like allowing him to do that, but he's gonna do it anyways. So,
no, I think that's definitely worked out, so that's good.
All right, so Anivia back up here, and you know if we count the eggs as deaths, Anivia has died quite a bit.
Yeah, Anivia's died a lot.
Let's see how this goes. And she's got tier right now. I know that Froggen loves going for the mana items, but here we go. Vayne with the chase.
Ooh.
Continuing forward. Lee Sin definitely out of range of the Q.
With the ulti combined, definitely going to let her chase onto this Tristana. I'm not sure if they're going to go all the way on her, though.
It seems like they actually will. She's well within range. And if she can get her on the wall.
Lee Sin can land this.
Oh!
Not quite. Flash does go down there. Barrier is still up, so the Dragon Kick would not have probably killed the Tristana if it came out.
So good. Alright, so nice job there from Tristana. Though when Tristana has flash up, she essentially has 3 gap openers, so I kind of
pretty good recovery there.
My chair is breaking.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm going to try to keep this together here. All right,
So we did see a dragon. As we said, red team did pick up the first dragon, and that's pretty much what's keeping them in the gold game at the moment. Dragon should be coming up soon, within like next 2 minutes or so.
Right. Okay, so it's going to be interesting to see how red team can try to turn this around, but Kale, oh my goodness,
And
way
Kale
too much
pumping out that
damage.
Yeah.
Misechi definitely does not
Wall
feel good.
was definitely on place, prevented Maokai from going forward, so she didn't exactly die there.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, Maokai's killer right now. Let's take a look at his items. He's got the Spirit of the Ancient Golem.
Oh man, the
And the
Smite Steal. That's definitely something a lot of junglers need to do more. When you are ahead as a jungler, make sure to just ward their buffs. It lets you, it lets you contest and sometimes just pull off a Smite Steal, because junglers will often try to give their blue buff away to their mid lane.
Yeah, and I mean, to put it in perspective, like, that blue buff is what gets you from level 1 to level 2. There's a ton of experience.
And especially for a Mana Star champion like Anivia.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, definitely a good idea to go with that. So, I mean, like I was mentioning though, Froggen typically likes to go, I think it's like Tier, Catalyst, and Chalice. Like, just tons of mana items.
Anivia chugs mana.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about picking up the Chalice as well. I feel like Catalyst is definitely a very good option on Anivia. It compensates for, her rather weak early, and Catalyst is a very good option for just sustaining it out. You gain a bunch of mana as you level it up, and you have a bigger mana pool. Tier doesn't actually offer that much in terms of magic, of mana regeneration and mana pool to start out. It gets better progressively. Catalyst is definitely the option, better option when it's, a naked item.
Right. Definitely a good call there. Now we've got pressure being put on to the mid lane and the bottom lane. Actually, all 3 lanes for blue side are pushing up. However, we're going to tier 2 on that bottom lane. It's a dangerous place to be without wards, and there are a ton of wards on the map. We've got a bit of an engagement happening here. I'm not sure how this is going to work out, as Lee Sin is going to get twisted advance.
On actually really soon.
Yeah, Kale steps into the fray as well. Leona's there to back things up, but everything's going to disperse. So it's been 7-2 for a long time.
We have a bit of the immortal combat going on up at top. Renekton can't really push onto the tower because of that early Sunfire purchase, actually. Anytime he gets near the tower, the Sunfire procs on Warwick. Warwick is not really in any danger of dying, and the tower aggroes onto Renekton. Eventually, Renekton should be able to push him out, but we'll see if the jungler comes up to relieve top lane. Otherwise, that tower will go down.
Right. So now Dragon has respawned. This is the game that I've honestly seen the most warding done. And warding in Season 4, I don't know if you've noticed it as well, but even at top level, when I watch the Challenger stuff, the warding is a big deal. Like, nobody's warding anymore, and I don't know why that is.
The trinkets has made people lazy.
Yeah.
It really just has made people lazy. The nerf to oracles as well makes it so you don't have to purchase like a whole stockpile of wards. So it's like, oh, he came around with oracles, cleared my wards, I guess I'll put up some more.
Yeah.
We do see mid turret secured for blue team, and they're probably going to be able to make a dragon play with that positional advantage they have now. Especially with Anivia going back.
Yeah, and there is that pink ward for blue side.
Seeing a really good warding actually. Blue team's really got their stuff together here.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed.
This is really high level coordination for a solo queue team. Renekton a little caught out.
Dash, he's got a slice.
Oh,
no,
man, might die here. But Dragon does get picked up for a blue team, so, there's a bit of mercy for them.
Oh, and Muskie actually does take that one down. It looks like Miss Etchy gets caught out.
The ulti is not nearly enough to save her. There's too much CC.
Yeah, and
they tried to give the kill over, but yeah. Maokai picks up another kill for the 2.
Leona could have taken it too,
he's
though.
Still got there's 8 kills, and he's participated in every single one of the fights.
This guy's unreal.
This Maokai is definitely on the ball.
I'm expecting, honestly, if they can keep this up, they've got a great, by the looks of it, they got a pretty solid mid laner. Tristana's not doing so bad, and the jungler's unreal too. VanquisherGod gets slowed down here.
Yeah, it's gone. So,
gross.
Probably going to see a second tier mid turret here disappear for blue team. They could probably capitalize this very well. And Nivea is very good at turtling though, so we might see that come into effect here.
Yep, but we do have a push
blue
coming in.
Team is really far ahead,
Yeah. They might crack this turret, and if it does crack, something might break out. But Anivia, of course, one of the best wave clearers in the game.
Yeah.
So that's gonna.
Tristana and Kale will definitely need to put some damage onto Anivia whenever she walks up to put her ulti on.
Yeah.
I feel like they could have done a bit more there, but they picked up the dragon, picked up a kill. Not too bad. They got out with the win. We do see the 4K gold lead now up for blue team, so they're doing pretty good.
Now, I don't think Baron's going to be thought about for quite a while yet. There hasn't been a ton of grouping. Renekton's been top for a long, long time. His turret has been cracked top. Bottom turret has been cracked, and that's due to the 2v1s on either side just winning. So those towers are going to be down. Vayne is just kind of AFK farm for a little while. Now the CS lead, or sorry, the CS matchup in the AD carries very, very equalized now, and in fact, Vayne's probably going to come ahead for the first time in this game in that matchup. However, in that top lane, 30 CS ahead. In mid lane, about 15 CS ahead. So things kind of balancing out more towards the blue side's favor. That's also because of the Maokai.
Yeah, the huge disparity we do see is between the Renekton and the Board, with all that global gold coming in for the Renekton, but been able to push that advantage for top lane.
So if you're blue team right now, you're ahead. You've got a pretty decent lead. You've got a tower up as well. What are you thinking the next objective is going to be? But I'll get to that in a second, as we've got a fight coming in here. Moofenlove is getting jumped on, but it doesn't look like he's going to go down. Tristana ultimate against the wall, and holy smokes, he's tanky.
He's tanky. Wow. Oh, he didn't even land a hit on that. Leon really should have at least attacked for once. Wow. Or like lifesteal or something.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, blue team actually did what I was about to say. I was going to say, take the last outer turret and group up top for it. Renekton looks like he's getting caught out of position here. He is very likely to, he's going to do damage.
Yeah.
There's no getting out of this one. We actually might see purple team collapse onto blue team.
Yeah, this could work out.
No, it looks like they're satisfied instead of just taking a mid turret, which is fine. Purple team is behind on outer turrets. There's still 2 left to take. So they definitely want to catch up a bit on the global gold, as we see makes quite a difference.
Yeah. And in fact, if you're looking to get back into a game, try to find those global objectives. For anybody out there who isn't sure, that's where you're going to get the most gold.
Gold. It just turned a 4K gold lead into a 3K gold lead.
Yeah. So, smart way to go. All right, so we're going to see a bit of a chase down here. Unfortunately, Shirelia's being out of the game. They do have the
coin upgrade, the medallion.
Orb
of Ascension. Right. Okay, great ulti onto Kayla. She does ult herself, though. This is where we're definitely seeing who can peel better.
Yeah.
The peel for Vayne comp looks like it's working out a lot. As I said, Tristana suffers from a really, really bad mid game. They just don't have the damage output at the moment, and Vayne does. Yeah,
that was a really brutal fight, completely one-sided. That's going to go in the favor of VanquisherGod. Now we're looking at a little bit of a turnaround here. 2,000 gold lead. You were talking about earlier how, global gold is good, but so are those big team fights. Looks like Miss Etchi is tanking that turret a little bit here. Unfortunately, they don't drop that turret. I would have liked to see them try that out.
I don't think they really wanted to mess around with the Renekton. He's full HP. He can dive onto that Vayne pretty easily, and Anivia's running a little low on mana. Tristana still deals damage, just not as much as she needs to in order to take out the tanks. Right. The other thing about that fight was it was a 40 fight. Renekton was not in that fight because he got caught out earlier, and Pearl Team did a really good job taking advantage of that. If they want to come back into this game, they're definitely going to keep making plays like that. Make a pick and then take an objective, or force an objective.
Right. Alright, so Anivia is going to pick up that blue buff. Going to need it because Anivia, again, just one of the mana-starved champions of this game. Dragon's going to be up relatively soon as well. We've got about 60 seconds on that. Warwick is top lane right now. I'm not sure if either team has a timer on it. We certainly have one, but unfortunately that's not quite in the LoL client yet. Hacks OP, but let's see if we do have a fight lined up around there. I don't think either team has a timer, and that just comes down to, again, they're just not as coordinated. Maybe one superhero guy is just like, I got the timer, guys.
Yeah. Definitely. I feel like, the higher tier players should be taking the initiative to do that.
Yeah.
If you're in a leadership position, you gotta do stuff for the team. You gotta be proactive.
Right.
So Dragon is coming up in 20 seconds. Blue team looks like they're more in a position to take it. There's a pink ward on it that they need to go clear, though. Kale's a little out of position for this. Still quite a bit away. But she should be able to make it in time. Still just walking past there. Please! Oh my god. Okay, thank god.
Yeah. They ping it. It's going
there
down.
We go. Alright. The AD carry walks past it. The support walks past it. It's like no one's seen it yet.
Okay, so another thing I wanted to note is that when I'm going Tristana, all I'm thinking about is Infinity Edge, some lifesteal, and some attack speed. Now, I know Blade of the Rune King had a huge up-and-coming for a couple of months back. Now, for Tristana, because of the range that she has, yes, you're doing percentage damage per hit in attack damage, but you're not really utilizing the active on it unless the front line of the enemy team gets to you, in which case you're not going to be in the best spot. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, it's really a matter of preference between Blade of the Rune King and Bloodthirster.
Right.
Personally, I do prefer you want to get as much AD on Tristana as fast as possible. Attack speed is not primary, especially with her Q.
Yeah.
It's like 90% attack speed. It's ridiculous. Red team does pick up the dragon there, looking a little out of position. It looks like we're initiating onto this fight.
Oh, and it's going to be Leona with a nice ultimate there, but VanquisherGod is going to use that true damage.
VanquisherGod getting focused down will make it out. Barrier does not last as long as Ignite. That last tick. He does go down. Tristana with excellent focus there, actually, ignoring your tanks, going straight away, putting damage onto her. Kale also putting damage, and we're just going to see the resets here for this Tristana, and they're going to pick up a clean sweep, actually. Maybe Lulu might be able to make it out.
Yeah.
Alright, okay, so Lee Sin does make it out. Us as Lulu. Lee Sin, you slippery.
3 for 2. 3 for
2.
Yeah, we hate Lee Sin.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're on the same boat as me.
Yeah, red team did pick up Dragon, but we, you definitely see there, if blue team properly utilizes their bruisers, they definitely have a way better front line.
Yeah. So it looks like Tristana and Renekton are going to try to chisel away at this turret. Goes down pretty low, but it's still going to get away from that one.
Yeah.
So working out all right. Looks like a Q from Lee Sin is going to land. He can't do much about it. Nobody to back him up. Everybody will back away here. Now I'm starting to think, okay, 14 kills, 9 kills. Even if you have a lot of deaths, that doesn't necessarily take gold, away from you. So I'm thinking about the power levels. Are they able to do Baron? I think with a Vayne and Blade of the Rune King, you can do Baron, period.
Especially for Warwick, the attack speed buff is very beneficial to your team. In terms of gold value, actually, Warwick's W is astounding.
Yeah.
It's just that, his kit doesn't mesh, very well together.
Yeah. By the sounds of it, some team has just won outside.
Is that, or, something big has happened.
Yeah. Maybe somebody's throwing away cash. We're missing the making it rain. Thank you, Riot. No, anyways. It looks like Vayne finds a target and he's gonna go crazy for it. Warwick giving vision as well for this chase. This is gonna work out pretty well. Maokai for some reason gets a prog there.
Standing right behind the wall. They're ready to go in. Nivea actually puts up a pretty good wall there. Leona throws up the ulti just to secure the back out. Makes it out of there with a sliver of health. I feel like Nivea could have been a little more on the ball with that.
Alright, so he gets out of that one. It looks like Vayne is going slightly non-standard. There's that attack speed kind of Korean build that was floating around where you got the static shiv with the Blade of the Rune King. We're looking at now probably a Last Whisper.
We're basically looking at the I Must Survive build. The Vayne's taking the Phantom Dancer and the Blade of the Rune King first, and she's got all this peel for her. It's going to be very hard to pin her down.
Yeah, and that's a smart way to go. You see how much damage she's doing, even to a Leona, who right now is walking around. Actually, she only got Merc Treads, so I actually thought she had a little bit more armor. But even with the W, she should be able to sustain a lot better than she would have did.
So I want to comment that one thing that we're definitely seeing is that Purple Team is much more coordinated in gathering up in a group. Big team fight over here.
Yeah.
Warwick ult onto Tristana, but Kale does pull that ulti off.
Oh god.
Selena does go down.
And Tristana.
Battle here. They not really can't really do that. Kale puts out a lot of damage.
Yeah, and Muskie-Bat actually getting jumped on here as well. Zot is so strong right now.
Oh my god,
firing
and
down
the
these
Maokai
kills.
makes it off. Probably should not focus down the tanks first. Leona did go down, Maokai almost, but as you can see, the two damage dealers are alive and healthy. Warwick really the only one that managed to make it into the back line. Renekton just push away, shove.
And you know what though? That it apparently worked out. They basically replaced Renekton with a tower, utilized it very, very well, and Zot was like, alright, I'm level 13, I've got some pretty decent range from my passive, I think I can do this, and they just cleaned it up.
Vanquish definitely did a good job grouping up, however they went a little too deep onto their turret there.
Right. Now Lolyo is going to go ahead and pound down that turret. So, I thought in the end, okay, so they traded a turret for a couple of kills. Definitely worked out in blue team's favor, but... Yeah. But now they traded top too, so it's like, it's completely...
I feel like Warwick could all They could have put the perks on them, why not?
If there's anyone you want with you to take down a tank, it's going to be a Vayne.
It's going to be Vayne, right, yeah.
Alright, so now, again, we're kind of hitting a little bit of a lull where everybody's just kind of going around, seeing if they can maybe clear wards, gain some map control. as blue team, for me, I'm thinking about either Baron or that juicy tier 2 turret in that mid lane. It's going to be it's probably the easiest turret to take out right now.
Yeah, Dragon's up in a minute 30, picking up the mid turret and going around for the Dragon's pretty good. Just gold lead a bit more. It's only a 5k gold lead actually. Purple team's actually keeping the CS quite even. Vayne is ahead of Tristana by 50 and pretty close on kills. So the gold difference between Vayne and Tristana shouldn't actually be that large.
Right. Yeah, definitely an interesting call there. And Tristana's legendary, by the way, after that triple kill.
Yep.
So, I mean, not that that necessarily gives her more gold, but she has a lot of gold.
So Purple Team's just gonna run into the issue of, you know, they're gonna try to peel for Vayne and stuff, but the bruisers, it just takes too long to burn for the bruisers of blue side, and Tristana burns through your bruisers much quicker. Especially since Warwick decided to go with the Spirit Visage first, which I still think was the valid choice, but he doesn't have as much gold, and so he's lacking a bit of HP and armor now.
Right. Okay, so what I'm expecting in the next fight, and what I'm hoping happens, is that Vayne is going to be a little bit more of a factor. Unfortunately, Zot is like untouched.
I think blue team's gonna take the next team fight hands down.
Yeah.
Zot's got his last whisper now. He's hit that critical mass with Tristana.
Oh,
There's the point of mid game, and wow, Lulu gets caught out there. A little unfortunate, trying to de-ward. They almost picked up Kale there, not quite.
Yeah, no, we still have the W available because of the reset from Zot. Is he going to be able to get up there? And he's still got blue buff as well, so everybody's trying to charge forward. It's not going to be enough. Now, Baron or mid turret? What are you thinking?
Thinking mid turret. Baron against Anivia is always dangerous. She can lock you into the pit with her wall, and then just put down her ulti and watch you slowly die. Yeah, not the greatest of things to ever see happen to you.
Right.
Is that a cleanse? Is Kale running cleanse?
Yeah, that's kind of weirded me out too.
What? Oh, so okay. So Kale does have the QSS going on here.
Right.
I think she's afraid of the Warwick ulti,
right.
That keeps her locked down. So if Warwick ultis her and they manage to 100 to 0 her, then she won't actually get to use her ulti, right?
Right.
QSS definitely helps with that. And Kale can always build that into a Mercurial Scimitar. She always from building AD or AP. She is a bit of an all-in champ, but the ulti kind of lets her do that.
Yeah. Now, one thing I kind of wish is that Warwick had like a Blade of the Rune King or just like one item that would allow him to do some damage. He's tanky enough right now. He's gonna survive for a long time. But by the looks of things, him going to the back line is just gonna get his team wasted. Like he jumped on Tristana and he just got blown up. If he could just save his ult, peel away some damage, some percentage damage from those tanks with a Blade of the Rune King, that would be very, very nice, and then he could save his ult for when Tristana maybe missteps a bit too far forward.
I'm really surprised we haven't seen the Sunfire finish for him, actually.
Right.
It's a little surprising to me.
Well, 85 CS.
I guess, but the team has secured a bunch of global objectives by now. He's had the Spirit Visage Chainless for quite a long amount of time. I feel like he could have skipped out on the home guard, not really necessary for him.
Right.
But probably going to see the Sunfire come out of this ward pretty soon. And then I think a Wit's End would actually do very well here.
Wit's End, right. That would be nice.
You build up his magic resistance even more and add some punch to his ult.
So
yeah, we are going to see blue team group up here. Looks like they do want to take this turn. It's quite low.
Uh-oh.
Huge dive over there. I'm not sure. Maybe they could put up a wall there. That's a great wall. But blue team, man, look at this. Everyone's just not even taking damage. They can go as far as they want.
And Musky Bad gets dropped into egg. That's going to be a kill. Lulu makes a big egg, but that's just going to make for an even bigger omelet as they scramble that sucker down. Miss Etchy and Vayne still available here.
Lee Sin and Vayne is out of position for that entire fight. I feel like actually if Lee Sin and Vayne were there, that fight could have done way better.
Yeah, and this is still not going to fly. Lee Sin trying to get a shield in there. It's not going to work.
Blue team is actually so low. Purple team grew properly for that. I really feel like they could have taken that. It was a really deep dive.
Yeah, and you know what? With the Lichbane on Kale, that's just going to offer even more pushing power for these turrets and the actual structures. Lichbane does proc on towers, so it's going to be a lot of extra damage fired on her.
Lichbane Nashor's Tooth actually gives a lot of burst damage to Kale, and I think we're going to be seeing... I'm not actually sure what we're seeing next from Kale. Probably a Riley Scepter with the Blasting Wand and the Amplifying Tone. We see some Kales... Personally, I'd like to take the DFG. It lets you shred the tanks even faster. But, you know, maybe not so necessary here, as we're saying they're not having a shortage of damage, so Kale can focus on more of a utility item such as Raleigh Center.
Right. So we're seeing possibly like a bait for Baron, but Vayne actually wants to do it. Now this is miscommunication at its finest.
Whoa.
Nobody knows what they actually want to do, but they're going to continue to fire away here. Again, Vayne.
This is really bad.
Vayne
this
does
is
this
really
very
bad.
quickly.
Kale's coming in. Oh my gosh, she's gonna melt. You'll see the QSS manages to get the ult off and just lives long enough. This Kale's not even gonna go down in the end for that.
Okay, Kale MVP as of right now for in that fight anyways, turning things around completely on its head, and now we've got to switch onto the Baron. Thank you, Vayne, for doing as much damage as you have at this point, but that's going to be our Baron.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Baron here. There's no smite even from the portal side. Tristana's off doing that whole thing.
Nasty.
Probably actually gonna be able to take out bot turret. I don't think Warwick's gonna be a hold. He still hasn't finished that Sunfire kit.
Alright, so just continuing to push forward there. Now, Tristana does have Blade of the Rune King, Last Whisper, and an Infinity Edge. I'm not sure what she's going for next. Ugh. Actually, I think she's probably going to go for Mercurials as well. And jumping forward again, no red buff this time, just ran out.
Quite get it.
Ugh. Gross. This is Tristana, man.
We do have Warwick on 30 seconds, so it is going to be 4v5 with the entire blue team pushing in here. They're going to have quite the easy finish. Yeah, Vayne's just saying they're not going to be able to do that. So this is kind of like, this is kind of why we've seen the decline of the Protect, the Vayne, and Kog'Maw compositions. Vayne, obviously, a little more self-sufficient than Kog'Maw, so we've seen her around for a bit longer. But, we do see Kale go down here.
Yeah, but
I mean, Nexus is down.
Yeah. I'll take a Nexus over a Kale any day. Alright. But yeah, so, I mean, smoking team fights for blue team, and as soon as they started grouping, that's when it worked, and they came ahead with a giant advantage. Thank you very